Got a lot of Minnesota in the house today, and next story is about triple threat. These three gentlemen started something pretty special in 1967, and it's still going strong. I'm going to let them tell you all about it, but talk about a lifetime of devotion. They're bringing it to life every single day, and especially the Saturday before Thanksgiving. Please welcome our next inductees, Gary Schwartz, Denny Schwartz, and Steve Upman.
Let me take you back to 1967, a week or so before Thanksgiving. I was in my dad's big Oldsmobile with four buddies. We were at a White Castle, wanting to see how many White Castles we could eat. We often stopped at a White Castle after going to movies or watching bands in the local area, but we always stopped at White Castle. So we were cravers before the word cravers really became popular. I was just back from the Army basic training in AIT. I was on my way to Vietnam. In 1968, I didn't think about too much about White Castle because I was counting the days until I got out of Vietnam. But flash up to Thanksgiving 1968, the guys and I, again, were in the White Castle. I had my Purple Heart, and I was with people my pals. What could be better? At first, it was just the guys. Pretty soon, we invited some girls and girlfriends, and pretty soon, we started to invite some friends, and it just became wider and wider, and we had more people coming, and we all had a nice time. Our pal Hank moved to Florida. Well, it became a tradition. We called ourselves the Founding Fathers, just because Three Stooges sounds stupid. And, any other three amigos didn't work right either. We call it the White Castle Derby. For me, the Derby isn't as much about eating as many White Castles as we can, although I do love those cheeseburgers, but more about connecting with people I don't see that often. And the White Castle has been integral to bringing family and friends together on an annual basis. Maybe that's why I've never been king. I've never won a White Castle Derby. But my wife has, and I was proud to see her. Sometimes you'll see some pictures of the group, or the crowning of one king, one queen, and sometimes a princess and a prince. So that's always fun to see the younger kids involved. The Twin Cities White Castle restaurants have always been really good to us and encouraging us in the Derby and being participants. We typically swamp the restaurant on Saturday afternoon before Thanksgiving, sort of like last night, only we had to pay instead of it was all free last night. It takes about 3 hours, and we have a good time. I call Gary the Iron Man because he has been to all 57 derbies. 58. I'm 58 derbies. I missed, I missed one thanks to my nephew, John, who got married on the White Castle day. So, you do what you can. Gary.
Yes, sir. First of all, I'd like to thank the guy who nominated us, his fellow competitor, Ryan Heglund, and special thanks to all the White Castle supervisors, district managers, especially the workers throughout the years. They've been unbelievably kind to us and gone way out of the way at the derbies. So thanks to all them. We didn't start as a derby. We thought we'd just go to the White Castle one time and the five of us could eat 100 White Castles. We made it to 61. So, yeah. And like Steve said, we call the three of us the White Castle Derby Founding Fathers. We've kept our derby rolling all these years. We send out invitations through the mail and also the internet. And we arrange things with the White Castle we're going to have the derby at, so we can have enough workers there and get ready for us. And we keep records for all the years. Steve makes a really nice poster for each year. And in general, we just oversee everything derby. The White Castle Derby is usually comprised of friends and friends of friends and co-workers, and family, etc. Some people we see all the time. Some people we only see them at the derby. it's become a multi-generational thing too. For a while, there was 4 generations in the Derby. Denny and I were lucky enough to have my mom in the Derby for several years. She was born in 1921, same year White Castle was started. And she lived to be a little over 101 years old. So she participated in, the 2021 on the 100th of the White Castle and the 100th of her birthday too, so that was cool. We started with only the King division, the men, and then the competition grew, and so did the other divisions. We added Queen, Prince, Princess, and Rookie of the Year. And like Steve said, it's always the Saturday before Thanksgiving, so people know when it is, but not always where it is. We move around to all the White Castles in the Twin City area. We have some favorites that we go to, but we move around. It's more of a social event for a lot of the attendees, but when somebody eats, 20, 30 White Castles, they're serious about it. Some of our statistics are the most ever eaten in the men's King division is 34. That happened twice in 1983 and in 2000. In the women's division, Faye, Steve's wife, reminded me that how the women usually work. They get a spy to see what they think is another challenger. So you go, how many has Jill been eating? And so they eat one more than them. But one year a woman did eat 18. So. Oh boy. Denny and I have both been kings a few times. I ate 24 once in the 70s, but anyway, my other brother Tim, who's here today, in 1970 was the first Triple Crown winner. He was Rookie of the Year, most eaten to that date, and King. I think he ate 17 that year. In '69, White Castle handed out these things for kids. It was like a cardboard thing, and we got a hold of one of those and laminated it. And that very one, from '69 to now, it's been the King's Crown. And I think in '70, one of the lady White Castle workers gave us these hat things that women worker at the time wore, and we laminated that, and that's been the women's crown all these years. We've built up a set of rules for the Derby throughout the years. The most important thing is to keep track of how many White Castles each person has eaten. You have to save your boxes. This led to one of the most unusual rules, and it's never been broken. This rule has never been broken. The rule is if anyone has to go to the bathroom or something like that, they have to take a fellow contestant with them just to make sure they don't dig through garbage cans, and that you look at an empty box. And then another unbelievable rule like that, and this one too we never had to use it. If somebody throws up, they can continue, but they get docked 5 White Castles. So I don't know, that's about it. And now a few words from the other founding father.
Thank you, White Castle.
Our supply chain superstar, Dan Cachel, can attest to the story we just heard. He grew up working for White Castle in the Minneapolis region, and he said, I know who those guys are. So they're legend. They are legend.